The dip for the NFL is here, and it's time to start buying. What's going on, guys? Matt here, back again with another video. As you guys have probably noticed, my last two videos have been on the NFL, as I think it's time to buy. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing one of my favorite tips for generating a huge return on investment. Now, if you don't have a lot of money, this tip is a great way to enter the NFL card market at a lower price point, but keeping in mind that there's higher risk involved. But the good thing is that if it doesn't work out, you won't lose much. And if it does, you get a great multiplier. If you guys watch the NFL, you'll understand how easy it is for NFL players to get injured due to the physical nature of the sport. It can actually cause investing in NFL cards to have a higher risk due to the higher injury rate. Keeping this in mind, the one tip that I'm going to be speaking about today to generating a huge ROI on NFL cards is to have a small investment in backup quarterbacks. Now, I actually got this tip from one of Sports Card Investor's earliest videos, and it actually has worked out really well for me. 2 seasons ago, Drew Brees for the New Orleans Saints actually got injured, and this caused the backup quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, to play a couple games and actually play very well. Knowing that he was an upcoming free agent and he was potentially going to go to another team, I actually bought into his rookie prisms at $2 each. Eventually, in the offseason, he signed with the Carolina Panthers, and I was actually able to sell those prisms for $20 to $25 each. So that's 10 to 12 times your money. I've also had luck buying into Jameis Winston this season, predicting that Drew Brees would retire after the season and potentially for Jameis Winston to take over that starting quarterback role. I actually bought into a high-end RPA of Jameis Winston for $75, and I was actually able to flip it for $350 recently because people are starting to get excited that he might actually be the starter next season. And this is all with Jameis Winston hardly even playing a game for the Saints. I could have easily just hung on for more risk. Some other examples I saw from last season which worked out were anyone that held on to Cam Newton cards, because once he got signed to the Patriots, he actually saw a huge rise. Although they have come back to earth since then, if you sold when the news came out, you would have made a bit of money. Just check out this graph here. Cam Newton's Topps Chrome on the 22nd of June was going for $5 US raw, and the PSA 9 was going for $12.50. Once rumors came out that he was going to the Patriots a few days after, the raw went to 46 US raw, and the PSA 9 went for 127 US. Now that is 10 times your money right there. As you can see, it actually fell afterwards, but then it rose to an even higher point later in the season. More recently as well in the playoffs, we saw Taylor Heineke come out of nowhere and start and play an unbelievable game. This game actually caused his cards to go from the dollar bin to $40 US in one night. In talking about great opportunity though, I also have to talk about times where it didn't work. Again, referring back to the Patriots, people had a lot of faith in Jarrett Stidham that once Tom Brady left, he was going to be the next starting quarterback. This caused Stidham's prices to rise, but once Cam Newton was named as the starter, it actually caused Stidham's cards to plummet. Another recent example is Jacob Eason from the Indianapolis Colts. He was starting to get a little bit excited when Phillip Rivers retired, and this caused Jacob Eason's cards to rise. So last week, Carson Wentz was traded there, and it's caused Eason's prices to fall, and he's actually one of the biggest fallers in market movers. I think all of this just highlights that you need to have an exit strategy and to take profit once news comes out. Maybe hold some cards just in case they actually do play, but sell the rumor to make some money. If you know your NFL well and can predict moves before it happens, there's a lot of potential here to make a lot of money. Today, I'm going to go through a list of players that I think fit this criteria. The first player that I'm going to be speaking about today is Gardner Minshew from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Gardner's actually one of my favorite players in the NFL. I highly recommend if you guys haven't checked him out on Instagram to check it out, because he's one of the most unique personalities in the league. I actually collect Gardner with my personal collection, so I may be a little bit biased here. But with the Jaguars holding the #1 pick in the NFL draft, they're predicted to draft a generational quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. For someone that was actually drafted in the 6th round of the NFL draft, Gardner Minshew actually has great passing stats. He passes at a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. His biggest downfall, however, is regardless of his stats, the Jaguars haven't been winning games with him. But in my opinion, it isn't all his fault, as he has nothing around him other than DJ Chark and James Robinson. I'm predicting that Minshew will be too good to be a backup for Trevor Lawrence, and he'll eventually be traded to a team that needs a quarterback. You can find his Prism bases going for $2 to $3 regularly, as well as his Prism Silvers, which go for $15 US. I think that's a great buy if you think he'll get traded to a team that needs a starting quarterback. The next player that I'm going to be speaking about today is Jordan Love from the Green Bay Packers. In a huge twist in the 2020 NFL draft, the Green Bay Packers used their first-round draft pick to draft Jordan Love from Utah State. So if you don't know much about the NFL is not like the NBA where anything after the top 15 picks are practically all luck. First round picks are crucial to a team, and it's crazy to see this pick being used when you have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Aaron Rodgers. In doing so, I think the Packers have begun a Rodgers succession plan whether he likes it or not. I'm going to disregard all of that and just look at the fact that people regarded Jordan Love as having the greatest potential in a draft class that boasted Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa and Justin Herbert. He's also getting the opportunity to learn under a QB that people regard as having the greatest arm talent of all time, and having Love's potential under Rodgers' tutelage has me very excited for him to start in a couple years' time. Don't forget, Patrick Mahomes coming out of college was regarded as very raw with high potential like Jordan Love, and he ended up sitting out a season behind Alex Smith, and we can see how that's worked out well for him. You can find Jordan Love's base prism for $15 US. And if you think that he's going to eventually take over from Aaron Rodgers, that's a huge steal. I also like his select cards whenever they will be released, as they'll be a little bit short printed as well. The last quarterback that I'm going to be speaking about today is Dwayne Haskins from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Dwayne Haskins has the really bad distinction of being a top 15 draft pick and being released after a season and a half of playing on the Washington football team. It's hard not to ignore his poor decision making and bad throws. I watched a few Washington games because I collected Terry McLaurin, and some of his throws were mind-boggling. On top of that, Haskins had off-field issues, which included him breaking COVID protocols twice, which eventually led to the release of him from the team. He then signed afterwards to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and people got excited because he was going to learn from Ben Roethlisberger, who's a future Hall of Famer. However, according to news reports lately, Big Ben and the Steelers may part ways, which may cause Dwayne Haskins to get thrust into that starting role. This may sound like good news, but I actually think he needs another season behind Big Ben, so I'm not confident of his chances even if he gets given the starting job. Dwayne Haskins' prism goes for $4 to $5 US. However, I'm not going to be buying anymore because I have a fair few from last season as I was buying him up in the off season. If I had to rank the three that I've been speaking about in terms of my confidence, I have Jordan Love first, Gardner Minshew second, I'd have a huge gap, and then I'd have Dwayne Haskins third. Another one you should be looking at is Jameis Winston for the New Orleans Saints. He's remembered for that infamous 30 touchdown, 30 interception season, but he's under Sean Payton right now, who's one of the best coaches in the NFL. But let me know down below what you guys think. Also, let me know if there are any other backup quarterbacks that you think deserve a mention. As always, give us a like and hit the subscribe button if you guys haven't already, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Take care.